Hello! In this video, we are going to be discussing how you can travel the world and eat all the food you love and still have the body that you want to be in at the weight you want to be in without emotional eating, without food and shame and guilt cycles, and without having to portion control and count everything you do in your day. My name is Leslie Irvis. I'm a registered dietitian and a personal trainer with 12 plus years experience in mindset dieting. And today I am here to teach you those things so that way you can remove emotional eating patterns, reduce disease-inducing patterns, allow yourself to lose that weight you want to lose, to feel good in your skin, shame and guilt-free, margarita in hand, traveling the world in the body that you want. So I'm going to give you 3 things that I really want you to think about today as you embark on this endeavor of reducing those things so you can live more freely. The first thing I really want to discuss with you is the pattern that we fall into because of the diets that we're conditioned to. So mainstream diets are exactly what we're conditioned. We're conditioned to go to keto, go to macros, go to calorie counting, portion control, way do all the things. Well, if you are a food lover and a travel lover, that becomes rather difficult when you're in an experience that you really want to enjoy the food and the drinks and the ambiance and the social situations. We've heard it before that obviously, back in the, earlier years, the bigger you were meant you were more abundant, right? Because you were able to the food. You always had enough food. You never went without, right? So in our world, as we move up in our life, that is a social status. We no longer have to eat peanut butter and jelly for lunch. We can have crab legs and steak for lunch. And that doesn't set us back because we're able to conquer those things, right? So with that being said, in terms of all of that, you go into your diet, you go into the thought process of, all right, I'm going to restrict this, I'm going to count this to get an end means, and then there's not as much push to do it. So if you're a C-level person, if you are a C-suite level, person, if you are a business owner, you're sitting there at the tip top of your game. You don't track numbers until you get a result and then stop. You continue to track, you continue to pay attention. So like that diet, if you were a Weight Watcher, you have to do it for life. If you're a keto person, you have to measure your ketones for life. If you are a chronic dieter, you have to measure your weight for life. And these are numbers that typically we're following that don't give us the warm, good feeling. Instead, it gives us more shame, more guilt, more cloud, which then distracts us from really living into the person we want to be when on vacation, when traveling, when we're trying things. We don't want to go to Philadelphia and say we can't try the Philadelphia cheesesteak because, gosh, that would just be like weight gainer, right? So focus needs to be on really focusing on what it is that you want to do through what I term mindset dieting, which ties us into number 2, that mainstream diet that has you counting and portion controlling. Not really give you the ability to consume the things that you want to live in the moments you want to. If you travel for work, if you are on the go, if you travel with your family, if you own a business where you travel the world, if you're doing those things and having those experiences, you want to live into your best self then. You want to be able to give yourself the best nutrition while on those trips, reduce your disease-inducing patterns, right? You plentiful life, but at the same time, you don't want to have this shame and guilt and cloud over you about how you went off the diet or how this isn't counting or you're not doing the exact things you need to in the gym or any of those things. So with that piece coming in and the shame and guilt from piece number 1, you actually attract your body to withhold calories. So now you're more bloated, you're feeling ugh, you're not doing as well, you're focused on how the clothes don't fit as good as when the trip started, how the bikini or the Speedo may not look as good, and your mindset shifts because to your head, your health is based on following that pattern, following this specifics. Just like in business, if the numbers shift, then we shift. But we don't incorporate this diet to shift for our travel, food loving self. Instead, we try to force ourselves to fit into a diet, which is backwards when you work so hard to get where you are. So the third thing that really comes into play here is the thought process of the yo-yo, right? It's like, okay, I do the diet, I lose the weight, I take the vacation, I gain the weight, and then I repeat the cycle over and over and over and over and over and over, which then spirals my metabolism for no longer working for me. So basically what happens is your metabolism crashes because the more you go up and down in yo-yo, the less it is predicted. So then what happens is that we reach 40s, 50s, 60s, and our metabolism becomes slower. So people that are chronically dieting and putting themselves on low calorie restrictions and then going off the chain and getting tons of calories wind up in this restriction where their weight is harder to lose each time they go on a diet. Whereas they age, they blame hormones and they blame menopause and they blame getting older and they blame, oh, I hit my 50s, or they blame things upon that nature when really it was the destroying of the metabolism that has caused this to come into play. So in order for you to see a shift in this, to see what the desire is that you'd like to see the change that you're really looking for, is you must change the mindset piece. And that comes through mindset dieting. Mindset dieting is not like a diet. It does not give you, this is your diet. Instead, it comes at you taking in you as a whole. What is your diet history like? What is your health like? What is your family history like, if you know? What is your goals? And then what are the things that you want to include? How many vacations do you have? How often do you travel? How much do you want to try new foods? Do you eat at local restaurants? Do you prefer to have a glass of wine every night? Do you prefer to have a glass of wine every day at 3 p.m.? What is it that is really coming into play with you? And in order for you to see the results, these things have to shift. So we go into this conundrum of, I need to follow this specific information to yield a result because that's how we get into business. But our diet, our travel, our lives are not meant to fit into a box. We're doing these things to live that free life, but we allow ourselves to take out the fun piece of things because we are distracted and attracted and confined to this tiny little box diet instead of really living our life and getting ourselves to where we need to go. So my encouragement here for you is to think about in terms of how you go into dieting. Do you go into dieting with restriction, musts, have tos, this is the way, this is how it has to go? Or do you go into dieting with a much more open mind, like, I'm able to eat what I want and lose weight? I assume the majority of you will say, well, it's always been the first one. So how do I get to the second one? Through mindset dieting. And that is what I teach because it freely allows you to live a life without it. So my takeaway for you, and this very quick live video here on Friday, is for you to ask yourself a question. And actually 3 questions. I'm gonna go 3 questions and not make it all one. 1, do you love food? Are you a foodie? Do you love to try the authentic cuisine? Do you love to live life? Do you love to enjoy a good slice of pizza? And do you love to do it without the next feelings being like, oh, I have so much guilt. I can't believe I ate that. I'll feel that tomorrow, okay? The second question is, do you love to travel? Do you love to experience new things in life? Do you love building a business? Do you love being at the top of your game? Do you love seeing how the universe works for you? Do you love manifestation? Do you love the things that you do? If that is true, and these are things you love to do, if you go into your diet with, this is just a means to an end, you won't get there because it's not connecting to the other pieces of your life. And then the last thing is, and a question that I'd really love for you to journal on is, how much is your health worth to you? If you built a business, if you're at the top of your game, if you have a family that matters, if you know that you need to get to where you need to be, if you know that your health is setting you back, how much is your health really worth to you? Because so many people are like, oh, I'll just do that fad diet thing and I'll just do this and that's free and cheap and easy. Your health, you're free, cheap and easy. You're at the top of your game. If you run a business, if you have people that work for you, you go all out on the systems in your business. So you are more caring for your business than for yourself. But without you and without your health, how good will that business be? So really ask yourself today, how important is your health to you? How important is it that you take into consideration that you love food and you love to travel and you want to enjoy all of the experiences in the world? You know, the universe created all of this delicious food and drink for us just to look at it and be like, oh, we can't eat that. Yeah, it's not good for us, right? The universe wants us to experience those things and to be healthy and to take care of the vehicle that's making it through life. And that is what mindset dieting does. Sorry for the little slur there. I'd always think about, not doing them live or editing them, but I think that's so silly. We're not supposed to be perfect, right? 70% perfect is as good as we need to be. All right, so I leave you with those questions today. I certainly hope you enjoyed this. If you did, comment below, #live, #replay. Tell me a takeaway. Tell me what you got out of it. And let me know if you have questions so I can make more live videos with content that you guys will find and really enjoy. All right, I hope you guys have a good rest of your Friday.